Hmm. Just a second.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Manas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't think we've interacted before, so
Yes.
it'll
Yeah.
be quite an eventful chat as well. You've been in touch with Piyush,
Oh,
right, throughout this?
yeah. Yeah. I think it's been about 24 hours since I've been in touch with you.
Okay.
From Outscal, it has been Diksha. I've got a chance of interacting with, I think,
Satnamji.
Mayank once, Satnamji once. Mayank via email, and uh, I had a one call with Satnamji,
Okay.
and post that it's been Diksha who has been, I think, the POC for you guys.
Yeah. Cool. Let's just wait for more people to come in, and we're good to go.
Yeah, let's
Darren?
just let a few people come in, and I think we are live. So if everyone who's joining in, if you could just mute yourself and mute your turn your cameras off and mute yourself, that would be useful, so that you don't pop in by accident.
Yep. I'll just ask Piyush as well to. Cool. Sounds good.
So just before you guys start, just want to let people who are joining in know that if you have any questions, feel free to leave them either in the Zoom chat, or if you can't use Zoom chat, leave them in the Discord event chat, and I'll be picking them up and sending them to Manas so that we can ask Rishabh. And yeah, I'll also be looking at our YouTube chat, LinkedIn. So if you're watching in those places, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll be passing it on to them. And I hope you learn some stuff, some interesting stuff from today's session.
Cool. Let me know, Darren, when we're good to go.
Yeah, you guys are putting in a bit much more pressure than.
No pressure at all here.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to switch to this landscape thing. So give me 1 minute. I think.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute, right?
Yep.
In the meanwhile, we can just ask folks if they can hear us well.
Yeah, we can do some basic video call stuff.
Hey guys, can you hear us? Hey guys, can you see them?
Am I audible?
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
It's needed, guys. It's needed.
Yeah. All right. So we are live,
Cool.
and yeah, we can if getting it set to landscape is too much of a hassle, we can just keep it on portrait.
Yep.
That won't be much of a problem.
Hi, Rishabh.
Hi.
Hi, Manas. Hi, Rishabh.
So I think another. I'm really sorry that I'm taking this. That's extra.
There's a lot of background noise from your end. Cool. Sounds good. I guess we should be good to.
Yeah, we got a thumbs up from Piyush as well.
Cool. Sounds good. Hey guys. I hope you guys can hear us loud and clear now. With me today, I have Rishabh. He's basically the co-founder and director of Mlympix, who's partnered with us for his hiring needs, as well as has been kind enough to dedicate his time today for this event. Uh, uh, just a quick uh, introduction background for Rishabh. He's basically a graduate from IIIT Hyderabad in robotics. He did his master's in IIIT Hyderabad for robotics, and he has been working in research extensively for the past, I would say, 3 years. And then he's basically switched into proper game development and started his own studio. So, Rishabh, I just had one question. Since you have like a background in robotics, what made you switch over to gaming in general, and what prompted the move?
So first of all, yeah, thank you, Manas. Thank you, Mayank. Thank you, Piyush, for arranging all this. Thank you, Diksha. I'm not sure if she's here or not. In general, thank you, Outscal, for having me over. Thank you for your wise words. Of course, the intro which you have given for me do create a lot of doubts and questions. Particularly, my the I would like to answer this question by stating some facts which we by nature we have in our headspace. Um, I'm sorry. Are you guys, of course, the audience which is watching us, they are cool with both Hindi and English, right? Or it's like, should I maintain
No, you can do a mix of both. It's fine.
mix of both, right? Because I believe that I'll be a bit more communicative and can explain it better.
Yep.
Thank you. So yeah, of course, the setup we are in. 11th 12th standard में we are asked to choose a stream, right? कि ये कर लेते हैं या ये कर लेते हैं, without knowing कि what that stream actually will take you towards. This is where things start going right for some people, and this is where things start going wrong for many of them. I chose engineering because I thought that I'm interested in sciences. I got my admission in IIIT Hyderabad. The first thing as an engineer at that point of time I had in my mind was, ठीक है, IIT तो मिला नहीं है. I'm not sure कितने लोगों के साथ यहाँ हुआ है वो. तो अब IIT तो मिला नहीं है, तो अब कहीं तो जाना है. फिर आप लिस्ट देखते हो, आप गूगल करते हो, यू स्टार्ट सर्चिंग कि किसका पैकेज प्लेसमेंट ज्यादा है, कौन सी ब्रांचेस अभी टॉप पे चल रही है, एंड आई एंडेड अप डूइंग दैट एज वेल. Of course, IIIT is one of the finest institutes considering all those statistics. From the beginning, somehow because coming from a traditional business doing family, I always thought of creating value via creating some products. कुछ बनाते हैं खुद का, कुछ नया करते हैं. I got into robotics and research because anyhow I was a dual degree student in IIIT Hyderabad. तो मुझे करना था, मुझे मतलब रिसर्च करनी पड़ेगी. और इंटरेस्ट में फर्क ये था कि बस मुझे अगर कॉलेज से ग्रेजुएट होना है तो आई हैव टू डू द रिसर्च एज वेल. First year into it, I was skeptical, but I ended up enjoying that because I started realizing that yes, people around me, and this is something where I can create value, I can contribute something, and on a larger level. It's not just developing a product, it's not just कुछ बना दिया. तो वो रिसर्च वाली चीज का एक बहुत बड़ा एलिमेंट ऐसे एक्साइट करने लगा कि करते हैं कुछ. Cut to my fifth year back in 2018, I had completed my graduation. I completed in complete 5 years my BTech plus my MS by research. So since then I actually ended up doing a lot of work with research organizations. And meanwhile a lot of things were happening around कि जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि स्टार्टिंग से वो था यार कि एक कन्विक्शन थी अंदर जो बोल रही थी कि खुद का कुछ करके तो देख.
Yep.
And then I ended up in 2019. I ended up being one of the visiting researcher to in Spain, Barcelona. They have a good robotic setup there, and I noticed that those guys are doing really good. Yeah, some amazing stuff, and they are directly contributing to the society. When you actually travel around the streets, you start noticing the products those guys have created. So they actually have deployed it on the streets. It's like directly creating an impact. So वहां से यार फिर we started off कि ठीक है कुछ product पे we started with the research, we started with a lot of things. When I came back to India, I understood यार कि now this is where the decision was to be made, because जब आपको entrepreneur बनना होता है ना, तो मैं अपनी जर्नी बताऊंगा. Again, I'll be very much subjected to me. जहाँ पे भी जितने लोग बैठे हैं वो अपना अपना ओपिनियन रख सकते हैं, लेकिन you start analyzing and start understanding कि यार कौन सी इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है. Like for example, fintech is booming in India amazingly. मतलब जो fintech में हम create कर रहे हैं वो शायद across the globe भी नहीं हो रहा उतने लेवल पे. E-commerce as an industry काफी वो हो चुकी थी कि मतलब कहीं ना कहीं एक मेच्योरिटी गेन करने लगी थी. सिर्फ वही है ना, पेंसिल की निप से लेकर पैंट की जिप तक सब बिक रहा है ऑनलाइन. तो वहां से चालू होके फिर लोग बिरयानी भी बेच रहे हैं ऑनलाइन, सब कुछ बिक रहा है. तो उसमें भी कुछ समझ नहीं आने लगा. गेम खेलता था मैं ना अपने कंप्यूटर पे, लैपटॉप पे. मैं हार्डकोर गेमर नहीं था. मैं मेरी हार्डकोर गेमिंग क्लैश रॉयल, आप लोगों ने सुना होगा, सुपरसेल करके कंपनी है जो वो बनाती है. तो I was not a hardcore gamer, but I used to enjoy those games. I used to love competing with my friends. playing all those hyper casual games, you play and you see, okay यार मेरा इतना स्कोर हो गया, तेरा क्या होगा? And since then कहीं ना कहीं जब रिसर्च और चालू करी तो of course gaming was a very lucrative industry. As an entrepreneur आपका दिमाग वैसे भी दौड़ता है ना यार कि यहाँ कुछ हो रहा है, और अगर यहाँ घुस के फर्स्ट मूवर एडवांटेज ले लिया तो हो सकता है कल को आप मुझे हटानी, मतलब समझ रहे हो ना, उस लिस्ट में जाने का सपना है, तो अब सपना भी बड़ा देख लिया है, पूरा भी करना है, तो थैंक यू पीयूष। सो उस वजह से एक्साइटमेंट और बढ़ गई। फिर आई स्टार्टेड मीटिंग सम ऑफ द गेम डेवलपर्स, मतलब जो मेरे सर्कल में मुझे मिले, एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड नोटिसिंग यार इंडस्ट्री भी बहुत छोटी है इंडिया में, कंसिडरिंग द पॉपुलेशन, कंसिडरिंग द इंजीनियर्स ग्रेजुएट ईच एंड एवरी ईयर, कहीं ना कहीं गेमिंग एज अ फील्ड, अगर मैं बोलूं कि कंप्यूटर साइंस कोड ही कर रहे हो, अगर आप डिजाइन ही बना रहे हो, लेकिन उस फील्ड में भी बहुत कम परसेंटेज है जो इस फील्ड को बहुत अच्छे से जानता है। तो कहीं ना कहीं दैट एक्चुअली ऑल्सो एंटाइज्ड अस व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड ऑफ। So there is one more director and co-founder with me here, Pratyaksh Agarwal. So we both were sitting and just talking about a lot of stuff. And the quotes तो जो बड़े बड़े लोगों ने दे दिए हैं, क्योंकि देखो वेस्ट में गेमिंग बहुत आगे आ चुकी है। ई स्पोर्ट्स जो शब्द है वहां पे, it is used for all the million dollar things. मोबाइल ऑनलाइन बैटल अरीना आपने सुना होगा, वो मतलब वहां पे लोग लिविंग के लिए गेमिंग कर रहे हैं। हमारे यहाँ पे भी चालू हुआ है, वो लोग, आप लोगों में से काफी लोग होंगे जो यूट्यूब स्ट्रीमिंग कर रहे होंगे, लेकिन सो दिस इज वेयर द ट्रांजिशन हैपेंड यार, की वैल्यू क्रिएट करनी थी, टेक में रहना है, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री को चूज करना था जहां पे खुद को इंटरेस्ट भी डेवलप होने लगा है, डिजाइनिंग और क्रिएटिव फील्ड है। तो बॉस मेरे को नंबर समझ नहीं आता है। अच्छा, ये लाइन में मैं पहले बोलना भूल गया था, मेरा पार्टनर है, वो समझता है नंबर्स, मैं बैठ के लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करता हूँ और ये देखता हूँ कि गेम्स कैसे बना सकते हैं हम लोग। तो क्रिएटिव इंडस्ट्री है, डिजाइन एलिमेंट्स हैं, स्टोरी है, तो काफी फैक्टर्स थे। और ऑफ कोर्स एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर हर चीज तो गट से नहीं चलती है, तो मैथ्स भी लगानी पड़ती है। तो यहाँ की मैथ्स बहुत 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 अमेजिंग है। मतलब ये सब चीजें स्टैटिस्टिकली प्रूवन है कि विद द नेक्स्ट 4-5 years the growth this industry is going to see, particularly in the market of India. Of course people are ready to smartphone users आप सबको पता है बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गए। लोग सोशल मीडिया से अवेयर हो चुके हैं, तो गेमिंग से भी उतने ज्यादा अवेयर हो चुके हैं, और अब वो लोग भी गेम्स खेल रहे हैं जिनके पास आज से 2-3 साल पहले तक टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल नहीं थी। एंड थैंक्स टू जियो, ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव टू bring in Ambani साहब as well, क्योंकि इंटरनेट, इंडिया इज द कंट्री जहां पे चीपेस्ट इंटरनेट मिल रहा है। तो ये सारे फैक्टर्स कहीं ना कहीं इस इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। सो आई थिंक इफ आई हैव टू आंसर एंड कंक्लूड फ्रॉम माय एंड व्हाई आई चोज एंड व्हाई आई स्विच्ड द गियर्स, तो पहला तो बहुत एक इमोशनल और क्वालिटेटिव आंसर है कि यार ये स्विचिंग नहीं होती है, यू जस्ट कीप ऑन ट्राइंग थिंग्स। इलॉन मस्क ने चालू तो पेपाल से किया था, फिनटेक से किया था, लेकिन आज वो मार्स पे जा रहा है, तो लिमिट नहीं करने की जरूरत है। यू हैव टू ट्राई एंड टेस्ट, अदरवाइज यू विल नेवर नो कि आप कहाँ गलत जा सकते हो, आपका क्या सही। मतलब अभी काफी लोग हैं, आई थिंक आउटस्किल से मुझे पता चला जो लोग ग्रेजुएशन कर चुके हैं फिर वो यहाँ आ रहे हैं कि गेमिंग सीखनी है। सो इट्स नेवर रॉन्ग टू स्विच द गियर्स, यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई एंड पिक एंड चूज। आप रैंडमली नहीं जा सकते, क्योंकि हम लक्ष्य मूवी के ऋतिक रोशन तो है नहीं कि एक बार ट्राई करके देख लेते हैं, वो भी वर्क नहीं करेगा। तो कहीं ना कहीं यू हैव टू टेक सम बैलेंस विथ द डिसीजंस यू आर टेकिंग, एंड एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम थोड़ा सा वो जो एक नॉर्म बन गया है ना कि अगर इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई करिए तो इंजीनियर, क्योंकि आई थिंक ये तो आज से 5-6 साल पहले यार हम लोग जब इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई कर रहे थे तो लोग यही बोलते थे कि कहीं भी पत्थर मार के देखो इंजीनियर पे पड़ेगा। और उसके अलावा बोले इंजीनियर एक ऐसा है जो पढ़ाई तो इंजीनियरिंग की करता है, फिर एंड अप डूइंग एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग, फ्रॉम द फील्ड ऑफ क्रिएटिव्स टू द फील्ड ऑफ डिजाइनिंग एंड टू द फील्ड ऑफ मे बी कॉमर्स में हम लोग एलिजिबल नहीं है, सीए में हम बैठ नहीं सकते अभी अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ, बट स्टिल। So that is the first answer. The second and the third answer is of course the excitement for creating games, because whenever I used to play games, मेरा दिमाग फिर वैसे सोचता था कि अगर मैं इसको बनाऊंगा तो कैसे बनाऊंगा.
Got it.
So this gave me that opportunity and option. And the third was the numbers. कि, getting into the industry which hasn't been matured as of yet. And break or make में ये थोड़ा easy option लग रहा था उस time.
Yep. And when I graduated also in 2018, I was also passionate about I want to crack gaming as such. And at that time, college में तो nobody knew okay, this is a field. I was the only one doing gaming
Right.
projects in the entire batch of 80 people. So over there, they were like, oh, क्या बना रहा है? What is unique? But
Right.
over time, they did realize, and now those teachers who were like, okay, how did you set up those projects? Can you send us the link to the GitHub so we can teach them over there? Over at that time, you could literally count all the indie studios in the country on your fingers, and everyone knew everyone.
Sure. Yeah.
You go to IGTC, the developers of the entire country, you could fit them all in like one auditorium.
One conference and one room, and everyone knows everyone.
Yep. So over there, that's the best aspect of it, what you call a calculated risk, right? The numbers are big and the community itself is very small and passionate. And that's how actually you kept on building on top of it.
Yeah, and as I've told you, right, कि, creative aspects जहाँ भी होते हैं ना, designs, colors, the way of doing it, I feel happy doing it. मतलब let us try something new and fail rather than trying the repeated things.
Yep.
ये सब लाइनें बोलने की हिम्मत इस वजह से आ रही है क्योंकि एक अच्छा सराउंडिंग सपोर्ट सिस्टम है और आउटस्केल जैसे जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं वो हेल्प कर देते हैं, तो फिर व्हाई नॉट.
थैंक यू.
एंड हम क्या बना रहे हैं, कैसा बना रहे हैं, तो वो तो आप सब जो यहाँ पे हैं वो एक्चुअली यू कैन डाउनलोड द एप्लीकेशन फ्रॉम द वेबसाइट एंड यू कैन विटनेस इट योरसेल्फ एंड ऑफ कोर्स प्रोवाइड मी विद द फीडबैक्स.
Yep.
ये लास्ट में बोलूंगा मैं वापस से. मैं रिकॉल वैल्यू क्रिएट करता रहता हूँ.
That's actually a perfect segue. Like now that we are actually going into what you actually work on, can you give us like a quick overview of what kind of games Mlympix actually makes and what your expertise is in, basically?
So, of course, I have to rectify one thing which you did mention, that we are a studio. We are not a studio. We don't label us as a studio. Of course, given that, definitely we are developing our own games from the scratch. We are designing it. We do take inspiration from a lot of other games and other studios. And one thing which I would like to mention here, this is again my learning, that it's not bad to copy. If something has been created, you can copy that and build on the top of it. It's not bad that you guys like it's needed that you copy कर लिया उसका, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. जब तक पेटेंट करा के सामने वाला सू नहीं कर रहा है तब तक कर सकते हैं. तो Mlympix is a one-stop platform where basically what we are trying to build is so the two industries which we are under the umbrella of is one is a real money game. So you put in money, you win the tournament, the leagues, the game, and you win all the prize pool. And the other segment is the hyper-casual gaming, which is like if I have to even label some of the games, like, of course, to begin with, the games such as that of Fruit Ninja, Temple Run. And these were the games which started off way back in 2010-9, even before that. But it came to us in the year 2010-11 when we actually got our first smart tablet. You can play, like they are quick play, easy to learn. But the learning curve is very less, right? It's not that big. You can just learn it very quickly and start playing them. So these are the two umbrellas we have right now. And we have developed our own games. Cricket, archery, hurling, football is one of the games. Then we have some of the board games, Chopper, Moksha Patam, Shatranj. So we have developed all these games, and of course we have designed it from, like it's like from the first thing, the game design document to TDDs and to all the assets. Everything is completely owned by us, or completely developed by us. So like I it's not wise for me to name that, but MPL आप लोगों ने सुना होगा.
Yep.
Yeah, Ranjit, that's the thing. MPL आप लोगों ने सुना होगा. ऑफ कोर्स वो तो सबसे बड़े जानवर हैं फील्ड के. तो कहीं ना कहीं कंसेप्ट वही है कि एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे मल्टीपल गेम्स हैं और any user can come and play and participate in the tournaments, the leagues, and whosoever wins makes it to the prize pool and win it all. तो concept वही है, और हम लोग भी try out कर रहे हैं different games के साथ, different models के साथ. Like one of the setup which we have right now on the platform is free to play. Like you don't have to pay anything, you just keep on playing and make the highest score, and the one who has made the highest score or the top 3 highest scores will be rewarded, and that will be like a monetary reward, the cash reward. So the setup of the application is that. The other setup which we are promoting is the multiplayer league. Now this is where the quality in the game differentiation lies, where what we are trying to do is we are trying to develop the games, and again this is limited to the research which we have done. Like for example, if we are playing cricket, तो क्रिकेट में अभी एक जना बॉलिंग करता है हमारे में, एक जना बैटिंग कर रहा है, एंड you have to chase down the target. So this is how the multiplayer setup works for us. So it's like a real time live multiplayer setup which we have introduced.
Yep.
So it's not that even if you are competing with anyone else, you just have to play your game. You play your game with that kind of a competition where you are able to witness other players' games as well. और guys, ऐसा ये ऐसे रेडियो टेक नैनोटेक टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है, ये पॉसिबल है, बट हमने उसको बस पेश करने का तरीका बदल दिया ताकि वो और एक्साइटिंग बन सके.
Yep, and we teach that those multiplayer aspects in our full stack program any which way. So
right, yeah. So you guys know, and it मतलब actually it does give you a sense of credibility कि यार मैं खेल रहा हूँ, कैसा खेल रहा हूँ उसके साथ, and all of those things. So it's basically a setup which you see in the role playing games and PUBG and all those things, and we are trying to imitate that and get into this whole hyper casual setup, keeping the size of the application barred, because multiple games are there and there are solutions to even battle for this size thing, but still as of now our application has 3 games, the live one. So that's how the setup looks like, but our vision is to scale it up and kind of make one ecosystem for all the hyper casual games, particularly targeting the groups in India.
Yep, sounds good. You made an interesting point, like hyper casual games need to be played from anyone to a child, basically to like a 50-60-year-old person should be able to play. Right? So there is a thing called, I picked it up from one of the founders as well, they called it the grandma test. So what they were basically doing was they make their game, they basically pass it on to someone who's 50 to 60-year-old, ask them to just go through the tutorial, and within 5 minutes if they are able to understand how the game works, it's good enough for the entire market. You test it out on different subsets, yes,
right.
They termed it as the grandma test, and that sounded very interesting to me.
Good nomenclature.
Yeah. So
like just to add on the same thing, it's of course the way things are happening right now. I'm not in a favor of this 10-minute delivery, but still it's happening. So everywhere and anywhere you have identified that this is like the thing now कि attention span जो है वो ऐसा हो गया. अभी आप कटान जैसा गेम जो बोर्ड गेम है, if you guys have played, उसको सीखना इतना आसान नहीं है. मतलब it needs your time, attention. Like even if like the games AOE Counter Strike में ठीक है, चलो थोड़ा easy होता है, लेकिन AOE हो गया या I'm forgetting the name, I'm really sorry. वहां पे वो लर्निंग का थोड़ा ज्यादा है, लेकिन वो गेम्स बने भी उनके लिए जो COD में भी वो थोड़ा सा काउंटर स्ट्राइक वाली चीज आ जाती है.
बेसिकली द टाइम,
लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं वो जो जिस तरीके का जर्नी और स्टोरी वो देना चाहते हैं, लाइक विद द केस ऑफ इफ यू गाइस रिमेंबर द GTA के अंदर वो एक हेलीकॉप्टर वाला चैलेंज आता है, डेमोलिशन मैन. वो नहीं होता था. So of course GTA for me was just a fun Dota, yeah. तो ये क्या है कि कहीं ना कहीं उन ऑडियंस के लिए बना है. जो मैं अटेंशन स्पैन की बात कर रहा था, इंस्टाग्राम में रील्स आ गई हैं 10 सेकंड 15 सेकंड का आपका अटेंशन स्पैन. तो जहां जो मेरे को अभी मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग रही है कि मेरा गेम अगर 15 सेकंड के अंदर मैंने बेच दिया, वो 10 सेकंड के अंदर अगर वो ऐप पे आके खेल रहा है और उसको I'm not saying he will become the master, but at least at the beginner level ये चीज समझ में आ गई कि मैं खेल सकता हूँ. So then I can stick him to the application. मेरा churn rate कम हो जाएगा. तो of course, those are a lot of value which you kind of back and forth start creating in the game itself.
Nice. So coming back to like your real money platform and your hypercasual platform, those are like two separate beasts in themselves, which can both can take off separately. How do you go about making money from both of these platforms? So what are the economics like for both?
सर मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन भी कर दूं, लेकिन लीक भी ना करूं इन्फॉर्मेशन. अगर बता दिया बिजनेस प्लान तो फिर फेल हो गया. The simple and the direct way to understand it, right? कि आपने जैसे हाइपर कैजुअल गेम्स में देखा, the two ways of making money there is advertisement. And advertisement is a big thing now. मतलब like you just have to identify कि आप बनाना कैसे है उसको. So the moment you start having the numbers from 500,000 to 1 million, you can integrate all the ad space networks, and like you might have heard about InMobi. Even Unity provide you with that integrating the ad platform.
Yeah.
So then for every one click or one view, you start getting some money. And for all the big studios, that's a very big value prop. I was reading about many clip. So this is the main focus area. And then the second comes, I'm talking about the hyper casual world, the in-app purchases. Of course, you create different stadiums or color, skin color. Like for example, in the case of archery, you create archery boards, arrows. You start putting in numbers there. कि अगर आपने ये player choose किया तो it's like कि उसका energy level ये है, उसका running level ये है, उसके statistic होंगे, right? XP value होगी, right? So कहीं ना कहीं that is also there. Yeah, customization at each object, and more than that, it's like you get the environment. Real cricket world आपने खेला होगा तो उसमें like if you want to play for unlock जो आपको करना है, stadiums, जो बड़े stadiums we learn about in here, ये बहुत पैसा देता है उन लोगों को rights के लिए, even for the voice, and they have the money. So वहाँ पे it all is the in-app purchases. But considering the Indian audience, this is again very numerical thing which we understood कि statistically बहुत कम जनता है जो in-app purchases पे जाती है. Of course, when you are addicted to one game, तो आप उसमें क्या होता है ना, वो फिर advertisements देख लेते हो somehow, but even more abundance of advertisement also kind of drives you away. So like if I have to ask you, Manas, कोई भी एक गेम आप खेलते होंगे ना पहले, आप हाइपर कैजुअल गेम्स खेलते हो?
Yep, I've actually published one or two as well. So
congratulations. Yeah.
In the space, I basically worked on like one or two hyper casual games. Plus, I worked on Temple Run 2 full time for a year.
Okay, nice. So I think again, correct me if I'm wrong, but जैसा आपने देखा होगा, right, कि वहाँ पे जैसे अब मैं टेम्पल रन खेलता था back in 2012-13, फिर उनका टेम्पल रन 2 आया, फ्रूट निंजा, ये सब गेम्स मैंने खेल के छोड़ दिए. 1 महीना 1.5 महीना, उससे ज्यादा लाइफ नहीं. So कहीं ना कहीं ये इंडस्ट्री is strongly working on the user acquisition. Constantly have to. So your DAU, like आज, if Manas is contributing to the DAU of my game, tomorrow I think मैं contribute करूंगा, फिर कोई और करेगा, maybe Diksha and then Piyush. So लोग रिप्लेस होते जा रहे हैं, मुझे DAU कॉन्स्टेंटली बढ़ाना है. तो कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ इस इंडस्ट्री में पर्टिकुलरली LTVs जो होते हैं वो बहुत छोटे हो जाते हैं. तो आपको पता है कि अब आपको किसी कस्टमर से वैल्यू क्रिएट करवानी है तो आपके पास टाइम भी उतना ही है. तो एक वो बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है. तो यहाँ पे ये दो जो चीजें चल रही है इन ऐप परचेजेस में, जैसे आई वाज अगेन सुपरसेल द स्टूडियो आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट, दे हैव a good dedicated loyal audience because these guys have moved to MOBA as well. आप लोग देखते, अगर आप लोग you can always Google and search कि videos आते रहते हैं streaming के, and the competitions they host, and they like those competitions go up to millions and millions of dollars. तो वहां पे लॉयल्टी क्रिएट करना थोड़ा अलग है क्योंकि वो टीजी वैसा. ये वाली टीजी आ रही है, गेम खेल रही है, दूसरा दो तीसरा दो, फिर पसंद आ गया तो ठीक है, जब तक मॉनेटरी रिवॉर्ड्स बन रहे होंगे ठीक है. तो कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ स्पैन कम है, of course in-app purchases या even in RMG spaces जो paying audience होती है वो बहुत कम है लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं scale बहुत बड़ा है because आखिरी की जो value है वो है direct monetary reward which may not be helping or creating value for you or me but it creates a lot of value for those guys. So then the stickiness increases there. So फिर eventually you kind of the whole journey is to make them इतना pay करवा दिया अगर इतने games खिलवा दिए तो मेरा value create होगा. So that's how the unit economics works. And particularly the RMG platform, it simply works as if like any casino place, the house should get the cut. So it's like a platform fee. If I'm introducing you to some 10 strangers and you guys are playing on one tournament or league, so maybe I'll end up paying the 5 rupees from the prize pool. So that becomes my platform fee, the profit which I'm trying to make. And the rest amount will be the prize pool which will get distributed. So
that one is a classic. So you mentioned
but
but
the again the prima facie advertisement is a very big space.
Okay, so I've noticed this in particular, like you said, in India, people who are not willing to spend money on because the scale is big enough, you are able to get revenue through ads as well, even if you're not completely trying to sell them on a product or something. But in outside of India, like you said, Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, those guys are willing to spend time as well as money on the game itself because the audience there itself is hardcore. So over there you mentioned like an interesting term called the DAU, right? So can you give us, like, for people who are not familiar with it, can you give us like an insight on what actually DAU is?
Sure. So the abbreviation stands for the daily active users. So बहुत simple सा हिसाब है कि आपने app install करवा दी अब so like I'll try to state an example here कि the Ludo is a big, like Ludo King, everyone knows that, right? It's a big success story. For the past 3-4 years, what those guys have achieved, it's a 450 million downloads. Amazing numbers. उनका DAU 50 million. तो अभी registered users या download जिन्होंने कर ली है, I'll not use the term registered because it doesn't also require you to register yourself. You can play as a guest as well. So downloaded जिन्होंने कर लिया है वो 450 million है. अभी लेकिन हर कोई रोज तो नहीं खेल रहा है. तो कहीं ना कहीं this is basically this act as a analytics metric जो eventually prima facie बहुत important है apart from just the number of registrations or the downloads you have कि दिन में कितने लोग आके आपकी ऐप पे टाइम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं and each and everyone मतलब may identify their daily active users differently. Like for example, Amazon identifies it as someone who is coming to the application and not doing even anything. मतलब you can just browse and go back. So like हमारी एप्लीकेशन पे सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि आप अगर प्लेटफॉर्म पे आए तो हम आपको एज अ यूजर काउंट करते हैं, एक्टिव यूजर. हम लोग इफ यू प्ले वन गेम देन वी काउंट यू एज एन एक्टिव यूजर. सो दिस इज वेयर द होल थिंग चेंजेस. क्योंकि अभी क्या है, Amazon एडवर्टाइजमेंट बहुत दिखाता है तो वो इंप्रेशंस में आ जाता है, तो उनके लिए वो नंबर बन गया वैसा. तो वो कहानी अलग अलग इंडस्ट्री के हिसाब से, अलग अलग प्लेटफॉर्म्स के हिसाब से बनेगी. द मोमेंट आई स्टार्ट पुटिंग ऑन एडवर्टाइजमेंट आई कैन काउंट any user as a daily active user who is just switching on the application and coming on to the app, spending some 5-10 seconds and going back.
Basically feeding the algorithm, feeding the beast, and just stay on top of the thing.
I'm trying to be as real and as honest as possible.
Sounds good. So outside of this, how do you actually measure these variables? Like, do you have your own tech stack inside of Mlympix in place? Are you using some external tools?
So obviously we do our so we, like, our application is hosted on AWS, so we do have our whole database system where all the data and all the things are getting recorded. And to begin with that, of course, I would like to point out that whenever you are developing anything, in the beginning, record everything. You don't know, because I'm sorry, I'm deviating a bit, but I feel like that this is a very prima point, which I believe you guys already know, that Geo ko mirror image is oil. So back in 1970s 60s जब oil सऊदी में मिला था तो oil बहुत बड़ा fortune था.
Yep.
Oil was a fortune gold for people back then.
Yep.
The logo of Jio has been inspired by that thing because for them, data is the new oil.
Hmm.
So this is where the data comes into picture. Whenever you do anything, from the day one, you have to have all the data.
Hmm.
You don't know when you will require the metrics. Kahan required, kya hoga, kya padega, kya nahi padega. But from the beginning, you record each and everything from your application or games, anything. So हम भी different of course tools हैं जो which helps you to take the data from the DB dump and convert it into the usable data for you. Now this whole thing एक तो raw data है, तो यहाँ पे मेरी क्या machine learning engineering skills काम आती है कि raw data और useful data में फर्क यहाँ पे आ जाता है कि raw data is anything and everything. Now you want to structure it in a way where you can use it to develop metrics or maybe run some algorithms to identify the pattern, recognize which user is behaving, what users are doing, how they are behaving, and what kind of things you have to modify and structure or maybe customize according to them. So we have some tools. So Unity Analytics is there. Then we have Mixpanel. So these are the two tools we are using right now as we speak, but we do have a couple of other things which we are trying to integrate for marketing automation and structuring it user by user.
Yep. So like every time I mention the word data, right, every time I hosted someone over here and who's an entrepreneur, even in the morning today when I was speaking with Mayank, he was like, make the data talk. How do we quantify it and make the data talk? I should be able to see the data and मुझे समझना चाहिए कि अच्छा, this is what we need to focus on. So that's exactly what.
Sir, ये जो finance वाले लोग होते हैं ना, numbers वाले जो लोग होते हैं, उन्हीं से उनको सुख और चैन मिलता है.
Yep.
हम गेम बना रहे हैं तो हमको लगता है कि अरे बढ़िया कूद गया है तो अच्छा लग रहा है. But yeah, of course, when you're starting off something, I don't want to digress, but someone did ask कि starting में investment कहाँ से मिली. तो कहीं ना कहीं heart है, money है, lot of things are being in place, so you kind of have to identify the path where कहीं ना कहीं वो converge हो रही हैं सारी चीजें आपको. You end up satisfying all the metrics, you end up satisfying your creative wisdom as well, but at the end of the day, the numbers are the game. They play a very big role. The moment you start having numbers, you go to Mars.
Yep, the calculated risk and the person, I guess, like those are the two factors I guess most investors look at. Okay, we know the industry is booming. What do you bring to the table that's different, right?
Yeah.
Cool, sounds good. So outside of the tech stack, I know that you've been partnered with her. Diksha also hopped in to say hi for a bit. You've been in touch with Diksha for a while, and I know that you've been hiring from us as partners as well. These tools that you develop in-house, what do you look for in candidates that actually help you build such tools? And outside of this, in general, do you look for something in every candidate that basically comes across you in an interview? What do you actually look for in them?
यार थोड़ी मैं कहना बहुत जब मैं इंटरव्यूज देता था तो मैं रिसीविंग एंड पे था. अच्छा, डोंट मतलब again I'm stating some of my experiences maybe with a story. Don't take it the wrong way, anyone. It's not to hurt anyone, because we at the end of the day we end up being on both sides of the table. मुझे somehow कॉलेज के टाइम से लगने लगा कि यार इंडिया में एक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जो आदमी कहीं मेहनत करके कुछ काम करके कहीं पहुंच जाता है तो उसे लगने लगता है कि अब मेरी स्टेट पे आने के लिए तुमको you have to go through that much trouble, and this is where the whole interview process becomes so problematic. मतलब the interviewer starts feeling like कि भाई मुझे सब कुछ आता है तो तुम्हें क्यों नहीं आता. अब पहली चीज, अगर इवन मैं किसी एक्सपीरियंस बंदे को भी लूंगा ना और मैं ये एक्सपेक्ट करके चल रहा हूँ कि सब आता है आपको, तो I'll be wrong on my part first, क्योंकि this is a very wise saying कि incompetent मतलब less competent should not judge the more competent, but ठीक है वो, but the nature of the industry doesn't say that, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं अब वो आइडेंटिफाई करना कि कौन कितना ज्यादा कॉम्पिटेंट है वो पॉसिबल नहीं है।
Hmm.
लेकिन the first thing which we do is, right, of course we go through each and every profile, we have to. और
Yep.
ये मैं बोलने के लिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कभी किसी ने बेचारे ने अप्लाई किया इतनी मेहनत लगा के, भले ही मेहनत ना लगाई हो, सिर्फ एक रेज्यूमे भेजा हो, लेकिन आप कहीं भी अप्लाई करते हो आपके अंदर 1% होता है यार कि ये कोल्ड मेल की तरह ना चले जाए कि बस यार मेल कर दिया, वो देखे नहीं देखे फर्क नहीं पड़ता।
Yep.
Till the time I'm making a blue tick on my Instagram and I'm not become a personality, I think I have enough time to have a couple of hours to look at each and every profile. I think you didn't get the joke.
Yeah, I did.
So we do look at each and every profile. We try to understand, because as of now the state is where we have to identify the candidate which suits us the best with the current situation and scenario. You may be very skillful, you may be very much of course theoretically and practically there, but a lot also depends on what kind of a work scope we have right now. Because the first thing which as a policy we follow is कि wrong hiring नहीं करनी है। मतलब आपकी जो expectations है और हम जो provide कर सकते हैं और हमारी जो expectations है और आप जो provide कर सकते हो, it should match to some extent.
Yep.
If it matches to 100%, then it's like बिल्कुल मतलब मजा ही आ गया, वो वाली चीज हो गई कि मैंने मतलब ऐसे बाहुबली बना दी।
मिलते नहीं यार।
Biggest hit in the country.
How often do you come across someone who's like 100% aligned guy when you do interviews, right?
अरे people तो बोलते ही हैं, जैसे मैं अगर किसी का इंटरव्यू लूंगा, everyone states this is an ideal situation. जैसे केमिस्ट्री में सीखते थे ना वो 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस वाली चीज, वो वाला वो आइडियल सिचुएशन था, वो कभी मिलेगा नहीं। एनर्जी ए इक्वल टू एनर्जी बी, फ्रिक्शन भी होगा, सब कुछ होगा, तो कहीं ना कहीं आइडियल सिचुएशन नहीं बनती। लेकिन when you have x number of people on your plate and you want to choose one, because अभी हम one ही choose कर सकते हैं, we early age startup and we have restrictions with respect to the work and the number. So you try to identify who is suiting the best, like उस time पे, उस moment पे, and because the only thing is you have to back your decision. So even if it goes south, then you have to identify and rectify problems at each and every go. You will create, you will do mistakes. लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ा प्राइमरी फैक्टर रहता है ना, जो मेरे को पर्सनली लगता है, क्योंकि मेरे इंटरव्यूज मैं जो लेता हूँ वो बहुत, इट्स नॉट लॉट ऑफ टेक्निकल स्टफ। मैं यूजुअली ऐसे ही बात करता हूँ, मैं ऐसी चीजें समझने की कोशिश करता हूँ, फिर मैं ये पूछ लेता हूँ कि रशिया ने जो किया वो सही है या नहीं है, तो पॉलिटिकल व्यूज पे भी डिस्कस करता हूँ। तो आई ट्राई टू फाइंड दैट कन्विक्शन, I try to find that honesty, that even if you believe in something, try and say that out loud. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो चीज जरूरी है। गेम डेवलपमेंट की अगर मैं बात करूं तो पिछले 2 सालों से मुझे जो समझ में आया ना यार, इसमें दिस इज नॉट जस्ट द सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट। मतलब मैं जितने भी आउटस्केल से भी मैंने जो भी इंटरेक्ट किया लोगों से, इंटरव्यू नहीं बोलूंगा मैं, इंटरेक्शन बोलूंगा, क्योंकि मेरे लिए लर्निंग रही थी। मैंने उसके अलावा भी बिफोर इवन अबाउट 6-8 months ago we tried to do something with Outscal, but at that time things didn't work out. तो तब भी जो भी इंटरेक्शन हुए थे, तो आई ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यार देखो बॉस, जो आप गेम डेवलपमेंट मेरे लिए थोड़ा और ज्यादा वैल्यू होल्ड करता है कि कन्विक्शन चाहिए। आई एम सॉरी, ये थोड़ा है ना यार, डिजाइन बना सकूं मैं, देखो, क्योंकि लर्निंग वाला पार्ट एक बार मैं हटाता हूँ, क्योंकि यार ये गेम में ऐसा बना दूंगा तो क्या मजा आएगा ना। कहीं ना कहीं वो वाली जो एनर्जी है ना, मैं इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू एक्सप्लेन इट वर्बली, मे बी एक्सप्रेशंस बता देंगे, बट वो वाला जो एक कन्विक्शन है वो जरूरी था कि यार गेम बनाने हैं मुझे, कॉन्स्टेंटली हैव टू मेक गेम्स, एंटरटेन पीपल। एंटरटेन भाई, फोन पे की ऐप यूज करके कोई एंटरटेन नहीं होता, फोन पे में सीधा क्लिक करके पे करना है। गेम खेल के लोग एंटरटेन होते हैं, दैट्स द डिफरेंस। तो कहीं ना कहीं वो एंटरटेनमेंट वैल्यू और एंगेजमेंट मुझे, इट्स नॉट रिलेटेड टू जस्ट मेकिंग द गेम मोर ज्यूसियर, की फीडबैक डाल देंगे, कलर्स डाल देंगे तो हो जाएगा। सेकंड, sometimes of course being in this thing you try to create कि जो चल रहा है, and then on the top of it you try कि यार मैं अगर इसको ऐसे बनाता ना, तो मैं इस सोच के साथ बनाता, या इस क्योंकि देखो गेम कैसा भी हो, आरपीजी हो या हाइपर कैजुअल हो, वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं एक स्टोरी रहती है.
हम्म.
अब जैसे टेम्पल रन गेम तो सिर्फ इनफाइनाइट रन का और भागने का है, जंप स्वाइप जंप मोशन. लेकिन द स्टोरी इज कि वो एक टेम्पल से एक गोल्ड का कुछ लेके भागा है और उसके पीछे वो जानवर पड़ा हुआ है.
Yep.
तो वहां स्टोरी है. अब वो स्टोरी जब आइडेंटिफाई हो जाती है, देन यू गेट स्टिक टू द गेम बिकॉज यू स्टार्ट फीलिंग कि मैं कर रहा हूँ.
Yep.
सो ये सारी वैल्यूज के लिए थोड़ा अंदर एक क्रिएटिव पैशन होना जरूरी. डेवलपमेंट पैशन तो जैसे हम सब बोलते हैं ना, नॉलेज फ्री में अवेलेबल है गूगल के पास और आउटस्किल सिखा ही रहा है. तो वो वाला एक एनर्जी एलिमेंट मैं ढूंढने की कोशिश करता हूँ, या मेरी टीम साथ में जो हम लोग करते हैं, बात करते हैं, तो वी ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट.
Yep.
And on the top of it, of course, we do like to believe that you guys can take it the wisest way or not. But हम वो नहीं करते हैं कि जैसे हम लोग कोशिश करते हैं कि एक प्रोजेक्ट रहे जो which you can work on. Actually the point of that project or the assignment is not to make you do work and वो नहीं है, स्कूल के असाइनमेंट की तरह नहीं. ये टू मेक यू फील कि डूड यहाँ आओगे ना इस कंपनी के अंदर, तो ये काम ऐसा रहेगा, काम इस तरीके का रहेगा. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो मेरे लिए वो प्रोजेक्ट मैचिंग अराउंड है कि यू ऑल्सो नो कि दिस इज द पॉइंटर्स विच यू विल बी वर्किंग ऑन प्राइमरीली. बीइंग द स्टार्टअप और बीइंग इन एनीवेयर इन दिस कंट्री, गूगल फेसबुक कहीं भी आप काम करो, मिनी क्लिप में भी करो, ऐसे काम भी करने पड़ेंगे जो कि आपको पसंद नहीं है, जैसे डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. बट
Okay.
ये एक जरूरी एलिमेंट होता है. तो वी डू दैट. लेकिन वी डोंट बिलीव कि आपको सब कुछ आता होगा या आपको सारे यू रिमेम्बर द कोड्स एंड द सिंटैक्स एंड ऑल. वो तो हमको भी पता है कि गूगल पे, बट वी डू मतलब वही. लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई द डिफरेंशिएटिंग एलिमेंट बिटवीन डिफरेंट कैंडिडेट्स.
Yep. Like you said, I could see the excitement, right? When you talk about games, right? That's what we also look for. Like you leaned up and okay, let's talk about games, right? At that time, that time, that's what we look for in general as well. Like if you start asking me about the games that we like to make, like we have a wide audience. The moment everyone is like, okay, now I'm going to lean and explain and put my point across why I like what I like. That's the kind of passion that over the long term keeps the student motivated, plus about the entire program as well. So I can relate to that completely from my end as well. And the major difference, like you said, in the entertainment space is movie dekhte time you said okay ye kya kar raha hai, wo kya kar raha hai, but when you play the game and you die you say अरे यार मैं मर गया. That's the difference, and that's the attachment that you actually end up having with the character.
मतलब वही मैं बोला, इसलिए even if it is like just that fruit ninja hyper casual, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं वो story element है ना, that kind of creates the engagement value. तो वो that is necessary to have. And of course things may change with respect to why you have created the game. So you need to know that why. The moment you know that why, you can make it big.
Yep. So let's come back to like the kind of games you work on, right? So now you've released 2 products. If they are live, people are actually playing them. What kind of design decisions do you make live, and what actually decides the actual decision making? Plus, say you want to introduce a new character in a game, in a hyper casual game. How do you determine what the positioning is? Should it go out for free? Should it be like a premium entity? What are the dynamics based on which you decide the positioning of the product inside of the game as well?
Of course, with respect to the launch which we have done about 6-8 months ago, like that was a pilot launch. And about a month ago we did our main launch. So it may be too early for me to say anything on these lines. So I don't. But of course, I would love to use some smart words so that each and everyone here also feels कि यार ये co-founder सही बात कर रहा है. अभी क्या है कि the beginning of the game, तो अगर आप सब कुछ डाल दोगे तो भी वो चीज मेक सेंस नहीं करेगी. कहीं ना कहीं एक जर्नी का पार्ट उसको पड़ेगा. हेलो.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
So कहीं ना कहीं you have to identify कि this is where that whole engagement developing and it's moving forward.
Yep.
And apart from that, yeah, the positioning, because a lot of things comes into picture when you start doing the data understanding, the drop off from the levels, understanding where it is going difficult, where is it going easier. And like for example, you have a thing called elastic stretch key. Like if you have identified that the game user is like very good, then you cannot give him level 1 every time he starts off.
Yep.
So these are the things when you start identifying in the beginning, and then eventually two things. अब एनालिटिक्स भी है आपके पास ड्रॉप ऑफ रेशियोज भी हैं कि कहाँ जाके कौन छोड़ रहा है. Then you start positioning things, and this is where the entire hypothesis testing and A/B testing comes into picture. Now, knowingly that you guys are aware of it, but still I would like to state one line कि simple सी चीज है कि आपने एक प्रोडक्ट छोड़ा था, अब उसके ऊपर you are trying to build things, so you identify some user groups, और हर यूजर ग्रुप को आप डिफरेंट एलिमेंट्स देख रहे हो. बट यू हैव मतलब आप एक हाइपोथेसिस के साथ चलते हो कि ये वाला कैरेक्टर वर्क करेगा ही करेगा, बट यू डोंट नो. दिस इज बेसिकली जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना इंडक्शन गेम है, यू डिड इट एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई डिड इट एंड दैट्स व्हाई. तो वो दैट बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ होल टेक plus numbers, and you integrate it in a way where analytics is done, and you try to position accordingly. And of course you have to play and test and try a lot of things there. The only thing is, the moment you know that you have done a mistake, it's okay. But मैंने एक महेंद्र सिंह धोनी का आर्टिकल देखा था यार, उसमें उसने बोला था कि वो मिस्टेक है ना 6 से 8 महीने के बीच में नहीं होनी चाहिए. वो होगी, वापस होगी वो. अगेन आइडियल नहीं है, कोई भी करोगे, लेकिन यू हैव टू सी कि यार ये वाली मिस्टेक तो मैं नहीं करूंगा. तो यू जस्ट एक्सेप्ट इट, स्टैंड अप एंड अगेन स्टार्ट रनिंग. तो वो अगेन you position these things accordingly, because since the launch we have done this, we have tried a lot of changes, pivots किए हमने, काफी inexperienced decisions लिए हैं कि the moment our application broke, मतलब like literally outbursted, तो वहां पे हम लोगों ने कुछ चीजें ऐसी कर दी कि again the DAU went from 1,000 per day at just the start in the beginning to 200, 300, and then to we have seen daily active users to 35 yaar. So you need to understand and identify कि ठीक है, this was a mistake you did, and of course you will not get every time that opportunity to rectify it. So वो बैलेंस करना जरूरी है. But you have to accept it first. You have to accept the reality. You cannot not always blame it on timing.
Yep. So like, since you're an early stage startup as well, right? You learn to walk, fall, and then you start to run, right? धीरे you know कि अच्छा, now I know what the mistakes are. They're documented and well taken care of, and based on that, your the rest of your decision making also gets sorted over time.
Of course.
Yep.
क्योंकि ऐसा है ना कि वो स्टार्टअप जब चालू किया था तब तो काफी चीजें पता ही नहीं थी. अब जो एक्सपीरियंस की कदर हम बोलते हैं वो आपको अंडरस्टैंड होना चालू होती है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि because this is a time and about discussion यार, we can have another call on the same कि एक्सपीरियंस बंदा, फ्रेशर बंदा क्या वैल्यूज लेके आता है.
Yep.
तो गुड फाउंडर विल बी कि जो उसको पता है कि दोनों क्या वैल्यूज लेके आ रहे हैं और वो उसको मैच करा के वहां से चालू करा सके. बट गिवन कि सिर्फ एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है इसलिए मैं आपको डिसरिस्पेक्ट करूं या आपके डिसीजंस को नहीं लुक इनटू करूं, क्योंकि रॉ एनर्जी अपने आप में कुछ जो वायरलिटी बोलते हैं ना, जो फटने वाली चीजें बोलते हैं, वो रॉ एनर्जी से है कि ये चीज कुछ अलग आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स था. तो वो बैलेंस है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स यार वो ये ना, स्टार्टअप इज लाइक यू जस्ट जंप ऑफ द क्लिफ विदाउट अ पैराशूट. Now, before you hit the ground, you have to make the parachute and start flying, or at least floating.
Yeah.
So, वही चल रहा है सर.
Cool. So, like Shubham had like an interesting question. I guess we are already over time. This will be the last one, and we'll cap off.
I'm really sorry, यार. मैंने थोड़ा ज़्यादा अगर time ले लिया हो तो.
Like, we are valuing your time. I can talk as long as you want to. But Shubham asks, can you give some real-time examples like how you use some metrics and take decisions like DAU and customer retention, etc.?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So like we speak, अभी भी मेरे पीछे वो Unity Analytics चल रही है. तो like मैंने जैसे बताया कि this is specifically a user acquisition thing, क्योंकि इसमें day 1 retention और day 7 retention जो नो मैं ऐसा अगेन यू नो राइट कि डे 1 उससे पहले जो आया उसमें एक दिन कितने लोग टिके और 7 दिन तक और कितने लोग टिके, X+1 X+7. तो लाइक व्हेन आई नोटेड कि डे 15 और डे 30 के नंबर्स सिंगल डिजिट में, लेस देन 5. तो दो तरह के मैट्रिक्स फोकस बन गए कि डे 7 रिटेंशन तक मुझे समझना है कि कोई बंदा 7वें दिन तक भी मेरे ऐप पे क्यों आएगा. कि यार इस ऐप में वो था जो चाहिए मुझे, या वो सोशल एलिमेंट है क्योंकि मैं अपने दोस्तों के साथ खेल रहा हूँ, या वो एक इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक एंगेजमेंट होल्ड करता है. नाउ अगेन कमिंग बैक टू द क्वेश्चन यू हैव आस्क्ड, क्योंकि द डेटा बेसिकली this is again from an experience of working in the data industry and research industry. It's been 7-8 years now. तो 1000 डेटा वैल्यू से कुछ खास पैटर्न समझ नहीं आता. तो रियल टाइम डिसीजन मेकिंग इम्प्रूवमेंट, जैसे अभी क्या होगा ना, अभी मेरे पास 5 दिन का डेटा है तो मेरा दिमाग दौड़ना चालू करेगा, लेकिन आई हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि अभी नहीं, वो पैटर्न नहीं बनाया अभी, क्योंकि अभी यूजर पैटर्न नहीं समझ में आएगा आपको. व्हेन यू स्टार्ट हैविंग अ डेटा ऑफ अ मंथ, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, then you understand where actually things are going right, wrong, how, and because when you're doing anything, but particularly I'll tell you about India, yaar, itna varied audience hai. I'd like to share one incident. Matlab, we made a change in the character. It became better and visually better ban gaya, thoda sa feedbacks aaye, and I got a call from 5 of my regular users कि वापस से वो वाला ले आओ. वो ज्यादा इजी था. अभी लेकिन मैं एक बायस डिसीजंस नहीं ले सकता ना कि वो 5 ने क्या बोला. You have to understand because I am developing a thing for a mass. तो मास के लिए क्या है कि वो इसीलिए रियल टाइम चीजों में तो it becomes like a wholesome sprint thing कि ये 15 दिन का अपना फोकस ये है, ये वाली मैट्रिक्स है, उस हिसाब से यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग. like my focus right now is कि acquisition and day 7 retention. तो I plan things like that कि ठीक है, ये तो मुझे अभी मेरे पास सिर्फ 2 weeks का डेटा है, तो मुझे I start understanding कि ठीक है, मेरे पास अब now I have to look for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then I make the pivot or make the change. And this is where the whole like A/B testing and all those things come into picture after analyzing those real-time data. Or of course, yeah, particularly in India, you actually are trying to cater to बहुत a varied audience. So वहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं it becomes difficult for a young age startup where आपके पास सिर्फ 1 महीने का ही डेटा है. So hello. Hello. Yeah. So that's a bit difficult to understand because abhi. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. We're back. So kahin na kahin that's to be understood ki okay, you have to find that line ki when do you want to start taking the design decisions. Of course, we do tend to take decisions, do that, add on to that, and push it to our level 1 users, 100, 200,000 people, and then see how they are responding, how much their session time has increased. तो यहाँ पे फिर वो session time की कहानी आएगी. फिर you try to understand the funnel where drop off कहाँ पे हुआ, the difficulty of the game, because like for example our games are मतलब like infinite setup में भी हैं. So this is the moment, and sometimes you take the decision from the other side of the table where you know कि you want to keep your average session time to this much. So you want your user not to think that the game is cheating, but it becomes unplayable. So that way you kind of try to do that. I'm not sure if I'm able to answer what you were like trying to get. But
basically, it boils down to what kind of game their user is playing at, right? Like you said, in Infinite Runners, you make it so that after a certain time, the replayability becomes that difficult. Again, if it's like a social thing, you see how much time together users are spending, etc.
Depending on that, because for that social thing it becomes मतलब कहीं ना कहीं गेम की engagement value से ज्यादा वो जरूरी है कि how seamless it is
Yep.
for 4 or 5 players to play together.
Yep.
So this is where whole optimization thing, data optimization, time optimization thing comes into the picture.
Yep.
You have to kind of keep that balance there. Yeah.
Yep. So again, जितना variety games में उतना मगजमारी as well increase. Cool.
Interesting है.
Yeah, sounds good. So I guess we're good to wrap up. If there's any questions, I'll be here for like 10-15 more seconds. Let's wait. Otherwise, we're good to wrap up. Any closing thoughts, Rishabh, from your end? How was the experience? How did I do as a host? Any feedback? Brutally honest, we are always open to it as well.
हाँ, ये लोग मुंह पे ये मोदी जी की तरह हैं. लोग बोलते हैं क्रिटिसाइज कर लो लेकिन पीठ पीछे.
नहीं. Trust me on that.
No, yaar, I enjoyed my session. Yeah, honestly, it should be other way around because I ended up speaking for 30, 40, 45 minutes. So I just, the only thing is that I didn't end up boring anyone.
No.
That's the only thing. Because from the beginning I made myself clear that whatever I'll be saying, it basically again goes back to my learning. Like literally to end, to end that thought. I think the guy who also asked the question, because at the end of the day, you only meet around 100 and 150 people in your whole lifetime. These are the people you know from the core to the bottom, and you make opinions about the world कि दुनिया ही ऐसी. तो आप सोच रहे हो आप 1000 लोगों के डेटा पे 700 करोड़ लोगों के बारे में ओपिनियन बना लेते, वो सही नहीं है. So that's how data thing works. I had a good time here, and I hope you guys will go and download Mlympix and of course have a look at the application, play games, provide us with the feedback, whatever you have. Of course, anything and everything is welcome.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm really thankful to you guys here to of course to conduct this session.
Yeah.
Honestly, अगर किसी को भी बोर किया हो तो please you can always ask these guys Piyush and Manas and Diksha, Mayank कि ऐसे लोगों को मत लाया करो.
Yep, guys.
What's your feedback, yaar?
Where
should I improve? मैं भी brutal, honest criticism ले सकता हूँ.
The fact that I did not cut you off in between is a compliment in itself, right? If I thought the conversation is going somewhere else, I would have cut you off and brought it back. But trust me, I had a great time as well. So it's good to meet people who are that passionate about gaming over here in general. I'm just happy the Indian gaming industry is growing, right?
Yeah, that is one thing which I feel really proud of.
Yep. So that's about it, guys. Go download Mlympix, all games. Make sure you give feedback as a community of developers, right? It's these. You guys are the most equipped to give them feedback directly. So feel free to download it, drop in emails, drop in a LinkedIn request. I'll make sure you guys get Rishabh's LinkedIn either on Discord or in the chat itself.
You can always reach out to me. I always reply. And and last thing, you can criticize. Just be polite with your words.
Yep.
Harsh mat ho jana and don't abuse. Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
And be happy and have a good sense of humor and be convicted.
Yep.
What you do.
Yep, Rishabh, I would love to host you again if possible, sometime down.
Of course, anytime, anytime. This is the last thing again, because you did mention it. We need to push the limits and start growing together. Sharing is very important. Shared economy will be the next, or has become a big thing. So kahin na kahin, I think this whole give and take process has to be there, and more profoundly, like the session you did right now, like that way, because I need to learn as well, right, from you guys. Or and I don't like to believe that even if anyone has made it big, or there should be the mutual respect always works. You can be polite, and thank you Malay yaar. And अभी मैं इतना खुश हो जाऊंगा, मस्त स्विच ऑफ करके खुश होऊंगा मैं.
Cool, guys.
Rest.
Cool.
Be happy and have a good sense of humor. Bye bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Take care. I'll see you.
Say hi and thanks to Mayank as well, and Satnamji and Diksha and Piyush. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Launchpad, guys. 7 baje meta session. I'll see you guys there. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.